very much. I've been hanging out here because I'm sitting way in the back, and this was faster to get to the stage for everybody's sake as well. So hi, nice to meet you all again. Marie Casey, AB Handshake. So today, what I'm going to be talking to you about, AB Handshake's voice optimization platform. So this could mean a lot of different things in a lot of different domains. Today, my background is very much like fraud, like as a subject matter expert. So this is very going to be focused on fraud. I appreciate a lot of the people in the room might not be naturally focused on that. So I'll try to adapt it as I go to make sure people kind of keep along with me. So what the voice optimization platform means for us. So there's kind of three aspects. One is it's a simple premise. If you reduce the amount of spam and robocalling and nuisance calling and unwanted calls you are getting on your phone for your customers, you will increase answer rates, you will increase ASR. By doing that, you will regain customer trust and improve customer trust in being able to answer their calls. By doing that, you're going to increase your termination rates, especially for international incoming termination rates. And by doing that, you will protect the ecosystem so it even exists in a couple of years. So from here, what I will define as the problem is basically people are not answering their phones anymore. And when we first made this slide, we had statistics on it, and I actually took them out because there is no statistics you need to say people are not answering their phones as much now as they were 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And there are, I'm sure, many ROCCO reports to confirm this. I personally cannot afford them, so we're not going to actually use them. So this is quite obvious. Now, I've also done, I do a lot of these kind of talks and meetings. I've met a lot of regulators. Regulators I especially feel for because they are doing so much work in this world to invent new technology, to invent new regulation, to make sure it's followed, to try to handle robocalling, nuisance calling, unwanted spam calls. My heart genuinely bleeds for them. It's a very tough matter. It's unsolvable, but there is a lot you can do. And at AB Handshake, we have our own suggestion about how we really think we can address this problem. So the current marketplace for voice spam, for nuisance calls, for fraud management systems, and I need to talk a bit about a background. So there are literally dozens of fraud vendors out there in the world right now. And I say this, so I mentioned earlier in my talk this morning, I used to work in Vodafone, as well as working in Vodafone as an end user of these systems, where I probably used about a half dozen in that operator. I've also worked for 3 vendors. So in total, I've probably used about 10, so I can talk about this with some confidence. A lot of the older systems out there are very traditional, is kind of a word we use to say. So they're very much CDR based, they're not real time. The way fraud works is if somebody makes more than X calls, an alert is raised and somebody's going to investigate it. It's very static. This worked 20 years ago in fraud management. Fraud has moved on. You can judge yourself when you get some super fascinating robocalls on your phone. CLI spoofing didn't exist. It does now. You really have to update what you're doing and how to handle this. So basically, older systems, when they detect fraud, a lot of the options that they have is limited. A lot of the time what does happen, and I have seen this, is they will just block traffic to a range, not even to the number. It's just easier to knock down the whole range. So if you're getting a lot of suspect calls from a number, just block the range from incoming to your customers, or vice versa. It can work both ways. So what we say at AB Handshake, it's more about protecting the ecosystem. It's not about blocking more calls. And a lot of reports do focus on this. And this is the problem. It's about blocking fewer calls, the only necessary calls you actually have to block, which are related to fraud, while ensuring legitimate conversations and legitimate calls can go ahead, protected, to actually prolong the ecosystem here. So our solution in AB Handshake, quite simply, it's modular, what we're presenting today. So it's a number of different products combined. The first product is basically how we detect fraud, and it's about saying, this is fraud, this isn't fraud, this is robocalling, nuisance calling. I could talk about our AI for fraud detection for an hour by itself. I do not have time today. Ask me later or ask me over a coffee and I will tell you some interesting cases. The next module we talk about is our enforcement module. So in our solution, we've moved on from just blocking wide ranges. We have the ability to actually narrow it down to an actual A-B pair. So I'm a fraudster, I'm a scammer, I'm calling these specific people, and maybe I'm spoofing your CLI to actually do it. and it's only the fraudsters' traffic that's actually blocked. And I don't have time to kind of go into the use case of it, but it's a very important use case in fraud. The third set is actually getting enterprise involvement, because we think this is the future. Like, I could throw a word out there like collaboration, but like seriously, people like financial industries really want to get involved in this, and there are some solutions that are starting to come out as well about trying to validate traffic. So the understanding of the problem is our step one, and this is how our AI begins. And it is really much about saying, this is fraud, this isn't fraud. Our AI is used on top of a rules engine. So users create rules, and AI can be thought of more to like highlight like specific cases within it, do your work faster, where should I look first when I log on? And I have been an analyst. This is actually a blessing as well. I can't go into the specific parameters. I just don't have time kind of in a session today. Again, ask me later. I can happily discuss how we detect fraud. The simple answer is we have about 300 different parameters we use in our AI modules. 300 is a very, very good number for those who don't have anything to kind of compare it to. Step two, alternatives to overblocking. So like I'm mentioning a few times so far today, blocking is not your only answer. And it's something we kind of handhold with our customers sometimes as well to explain. So when you block a call, you are blatantly using termination values, or termination rates for that traffic. You could divert that call to a paid-for IVR through our system, heavily something we suggest, because fraud is so much about blocking revenue. From what other teams think, this is an opportunity to actually reclaim that back and possibly pump it back into your fraud protection for other use cases. So as well as alternatives to blocking, you can also do some nice user-friendly things, and it's even like relabel a call, change the labeling, change the CLI. Update the CLI name to say something else. There's a lot of options here. So step three is where I'll talk a little bit more about enterprises. So sometimes people are very familiar with negative labeling. Everybody here has probably gotten a call from a suspect number, do not answer, fraudulent, etc. What we've done in AB Handshake is actually adapt that and use it within our solution to actually more focus on positive labeling. And this is all about how to get like more, again, it's about the finances, to be honest, and it's about how allowing businesses and allowing large-scale enterprises to integrate with this pretty simply and basically say, yeah, protect our traffic, update these specific calls, confirm it's our CLI, confirm we are the real business, even give a reason for the call. So it's like, if I get a call and I know someone's not trying to sell me something, the odds of me answering that are a lot higher. A little bit about how we do this in the background with the enterprise. The idea is when we integrate with an enterprise or a large-scale business, they would just provide us even real-time or daily or preempt us with information about callers that they're planning on calling that day. We can upload it in, and when a call comes in, we basically will do that update for the enterprise and say, yes, we can confirm this is validated. This is through our call validation module, and again, it's another example. It's just modular, and it kind of fits together. Before anybody asks me, what if a fraudster spoofs that customer's number and tries to terminate a call? And this is basically how the module checks and says, no, this is a spoof call. This business is not intending to actually call this customer today. So we can just, again, reject it. We can divert it. There's a lot of options here. This is a UI. No presentation, I think, would ever be complete without showing it is real, it exists, it is deployed in customers. Users log on. I am, like, historically a fraud analyst. I need to get my hands on data. Even if AI was perfect in this world, I would still want to see it. And so that's why we've made this sure this is like built in from scratch. Users, including enterprises and businesses, can log on and actually see their data, see results, and see KPIs and like ROIs about this system. So a little piece about deployment. Basically, I have worked in this industry for a while. I have never done two deployments the same way. Everybody has different data. Everybody has different data for AI as well, like different, some operators are prepay, some are post-pay. That dramatically changes the type of activity that's actually happening on a network. And you wouldn't believe it without actually really knowing the data. So we provide simple APIs for verification with our enterprises, whoever want to opt in. We also give our UI, and that sub-accounts for connected enterprises is quite a key point because they're two different industries. They really want to kind of work together, and like we're really trying to put like feet on the ground and actually get this working, start from somewhere and kind of grow and grow and grow even more than we have now. The business model is interesting. So we're happy to white label everything we do. And what we say to our operators is you have a few different opportunities here for B2B and B2C. So for example, we suggest if you wish, you could, for example, like resell this even as a service to enterprises who want to trial this out. Really easy, get going and go on and move on and move on. And you could also sell it as like value-added services to your subscribers and say, if you want enhanced fraud detection beyond what you have now, this is an option as well. So there is an interesting opportunities for where this can go for operators as well. The tech, AI, real-time, on top of what we have. Processing speed is probably our key one. So we say about 3 to 4 milliseconds, and we are out of band, but when we detect fraud, we did hit a processing speed of 1 millisecond in a deployment last month. So we're going to keep saying that and keep repeating that is our future goal. Like I'm saying, it's modular. Of all our customers, some people have one piece, some have all. We have an entire country involved in one of these solutions across all vendors, so it is quite variable. Like I say, there are no two deployments identical, I'd say, for any of our customers. The conclusion, as you heard me talk about this morning, usually my presentations have a lot more like real live examples that I love giving. Frauds I've seen, frauds we've detected. Very simply, I do not have time to go into it today. Heavily suggest someone ask me about this later. I have stories to tell. And this is how this all can fit together. But it's knowing how and what's right, regulatory, when privacy is correctly observed in certain countries, and knowing which pieces of this you really need to apply to a specific operator or a specific country. And I think this is actually going to be my last slide. So why are we doing it in AB Handshake? And these are our credentials for our company. So we are very, very involved in this world. We have about 160 customers across the world who are all, I think, rooting for us today. And it's like we have access to this data. We have so much we can see. If you look at what we do in the industry, we were very much about trying to share and trying to actually make other people collaborate in this as well, because the more information that's out there about fraud, the more we can protect against fraud. And I think I can probably just leave it there and hand over my last 7 seconds gracefully. Thank you.